Good morning, everyone. Good. Again, my name is Yin Xiong. I'm Chief Architect of Cloud Platform at Huawei. It's great to be here at OSCon. I personally attend this conference a couple of times. It's a great conference for the software developers and for technology leaders. So today, I want to share with you some information about open source in China. And I want to talk about how important and powerful the open source is to the IT industry in China. I will also talk a little bit about Huawei ourselves, the role we play in the whole open source community, the whole open source ecosystems. But let's start with things to do. And if you go to China, let's say next week, so just go to any place that you have a list of things you want to check out, right? Now for China, I guess, is you probably try those things, check out those things. Panda, somewhere to say a panda. They're really adorable, right? Yeah. Or if you find a place to have a cup of tea, if you like the tea, especially you go to a city like Hangzhou where they really have a famous tea over there. Or you just see the crowd city and experience the culture there. When I say crowded, it's really a crowded city over there. So there's a lot of things to do in China. But today, I want you to check out the software industry in China. According to a survey by an organization called China Academy of Telecommunication Research, and that survey estimates the total software revenue in China will reach 1.2 trillion in the year 2020, up from 700 billion in last year. 1.2 trillion, this is a lot, it's a big number for me. And more importantly is that 13% of year-over-year growth rate over the next 4 years. In fact, it's next 3 years. 2016 is already gone, right? So the China software industry is booming, and it's good news for software developers, and it's good news for you and for us too. So how open source software is doing in China? It's great, it's huge. So the same survey also reports the open source software usage for last year. And this is the number that came out. As you can see, easily that more than 90% of customers in the survey say they are currently either use the open source software or plan to use an open source software. More than 90%. This is an incredible number. You know, when I first look at that number, myself was surprised. How can more than 90%, but it's real. This shows that how much the software developers in China love open source technology. It's a huge trend right now in China for the open source technology, and it's great news for all of us. Now, part of the reason that for this huge open source market can be attributed to many open source organizations in China, like CSD and China Open Source China.net. They promote open technologies. They promote the community collaborations. They promote the ecosystems globally. Again, the open source market is booming and is huge trends in China right now. Not surprisingly, there's no surprise here. The company in China, just like company here in the US, the company chooses the software open source technology based on the technology maturities, sustainabilities, and the talent pool. Those are top 3 factors for companies to choose which open source technology, which open source software to use. And in some cases, especially for large companies, the talent pool is the number 1 factor when they choose open source technology. What that means? That means that most of you are the reasons that for many companies choose the open source technology. This is awesome. This is great. Now, another incredible number is shown in this report is how companies implement open source technology. In this report, you can see from those numbers that about 80% of companies that implement this open source technology in production for the business through the partnership with technology providers. This is really good news for the technology providers. There is a gap between the open source version of the product and the production-ready, enterprise-ready version of softwares. So the company that need help from us, from all of you, to make the software, to make the technologies that more reliable, more scalable, and easy to use. This is where we come into play. Open source is a top priority, top strategy in Huawei. We are members of many open source organizations like LinuxCon, OpenStack, CNCF, and OpenNFV, and Spark. So we are the number one in promoting and contributing to the open source technology. And I will give a couple of examples in the few next slides. But with open source strategy, we try to focus on two things. One, we try to focus on solve real customer problems in using or adopting the open source technology. Whatever that means. It may mean that we optimize or extend the open source technology. It may mean that we give a training to developers for our customers. It may mean that we make the software easy to use. Right? And the second we want to focus on is the contribution back to the communities through the project we started or through the project the community started. We contribute both to the communities. So this is OpenStack is one of the scenarios that showing the role we play in the open source community in China. So we helped organize the first OpenStack Day events in China. We hosted 5 bug smash events and developer trainings in China. But the real story I want to share with you today is one of the customers we have, China Mobile. We helped China Mobile deploy the OpenStack deployment for the private cloud, which we believe is the largest OpenStack deployment with 4 clusters around the country, managing more than 6,000 nodes. And this platform, the China Mobile used for the IoT, for the NFV applications. One of the requirements or one of the problems they're facing is they want to link all those 4 clusters together to be one logical unit so they can control from the central place to deploy apps across the 4 clusters. So we did a project called Tricycle where we federate multiple OpenStack clusters into one logical unit, exactly solve the problems they have, and this project has been contributed back to OpenStack communities. Another example I want to share with you is the Kubernetes and containers. As I mentioned earlier, that we are one of the founding members for CNCF, which is the foundation that hosts the Kubernetes project. Our internal IT team is one of the first to deploy and manage Kubernetes and container in production for IT applications with cloud-native architectures. These are really Kubernetes container in productions. Our IT guys, they did a really good job to be able to use this technology to improve the resource utilization a lot. As you can see from these slides, in some cases, they reduce the number of VMs from 100 to 20 for the same amount of workload. They'll also be able to improve the development efficiency, as you see from the slides, 10 times. At the same time, we're heavily engaged with the Kubernetes project, and then we contribute in the community. We contribute many features to the community, to this project, including Kubernetes federations, resource schedulings, container networking, and so on. We continue to working with communities and contribute to the project a lot. Now, additionally, also want to share with 3 projects we initiated, and we are working with other companies to try to contribute that back to the communities. The first is the Carbon Data. Carbon Data is this project has been already accepted as a top-level project in the Apache Foundation. It's an index data format for fast data analysis. OpenSDS is a project that abstracts the whole storage resource as a logical pool so that developers can use a standard API to schedule the storage resource for their application needs, just like they schedule computing resource for their applications. Microservice framework is a framework that we build as part of our platform, PaaS platform. We are in the process to open source this project, and hopefully they contribute back to the communities. Last but not least, I want to mention the project called Open Lab. The Open Lab is a dev cloud environment where developers, you can sign up to go there to develop, test, and run your applications based on the open API, based on the open source technologies. This is really a unique way that we contribute to the community by opening up this open labs, which already have 13 of them, 6 more in the build. And again, there's a button there in this URL. You can go to try. It's the way that we help promote the developer ecosystems, help to improve the developer experience through tools, through API again. I think that's all for me. Now, one last word, and I like this word, is working together is fun, but winning together is awesome. Thank you very much for your time. Hope you enjoy the conference.